I see, so I had to keep it on there again. Alright, that's fine. Should show up any second now. And we have an ad playing for Avatar The Last Airbender, or a game based on that for some reason. Okay, we are in fact live. Awesome. Alright, hello everyone. Ace here. Welcome to today's live stream. I am joined today with returning guest Doctor Kalkyl.
What up?
Welcome to the stream, Kalkyl. It's been a good while, admittedly. My fault on that. I haven't been doing comic book comics recently, or comic book streams recently, so today we will be back with some more Star Wars Empire. But I first decided, if it's alright with you guys, show you off some more stuff from FHSW and Forgotten Hope Secret Weapon Europe. Full disclosure, I do actually, my mod team, Battlefield 1918, does work with these guys. Both of these teams a little bit here and there. We trade and do stuff like that. But both of these, so I need to provide some context. So for Battlefield 1942, there is the Forgotten Hope mod, which was a total conversion that really expanded upon what 1942 covered. So it included things like, it included adding the Polish in as their own separate faction, plus the early war in that area. It added in Finland. It added in a whole bunch of different variations and equipment that are era-specific. So it wasn't just, here's the U.S., for example, in World War II. It's, here's the U.S. and their equipment circa 1941, circa 1942, etc., etc. So the uniforms, the weapons all changed, things like that. And so you then had an expansion pack mod called Forgotten Hope Secret Weapon, which added in new factions like the Hungarians, again, and it also added in a bunch of secret weapon prototypes and stuff like that. And then you have FHSW Europe, which is an expansion pack mod for FHSW. So we have an expansion for a mod. But they both have just announced some new stuff, so I'm going to quickly show some of that. Apparently the Soviets are getting a brand new rocket launcher for anti-tank purposes, which got renamed the RPG-1, called the LPG-44, so that's one of the new things they're getting. They're also getting another version called the DRG-40. And some anti-tank rifle grenades. The Japanese got themselves a brand new recoilless rifle here, which you can actually see them testing here. Simplified one. And, yes, an anti-air mine discharger for the Japanese. So it's a mortar that fires these little parachute mines to try to trap enemy planes, is one of the new things that they've got. And you can actually fire in a whole bunch of these as an area denial system. I think that you can actually fire a whole bunch of them at once. So yeah, neat little stuff like that. Germans are getting the Fliegerfaust, which if you play Battlefield 5, my condolences, but yeah, this thing from Battlefield 5 basically made it into this. To be fair, it is an actual thing. And then they also gave us a new tank destroyer that has its own dedicated anti-air guns mounted on the rear of it. To be fair, though, it is the Japanese 20mm, which is, in real life, I know the 20mm is notoriously bad, so. They also have recently showed off some new, the Little John adapters, which are adapters that I guess narrow down the gun bore, but produce an extremely high velocity projectile. So that is, and you can mount them on aircraft and armored cars and stuff like that. So those are all new things. And then FHSW Europe has just recently announced the Fiat 2000, which is a World War I era design Italian super heavy that apparently got upgunned with a pair of cannons and two of its sponsons here and here, but you still have the main gun there. So yeah, interesting stuff, definitely. And let's see if I can read the comment here. Japanese new weapon, kamikaze launch platform. We're already there. We've had those in for FHSW for the longest time. We actually had several different flavors already in, including the rocket-powered Oka aircraft, or as the Allies would call them, Baka bombs. Yes, really. So yeah. Hello there, Hello there, Alright. So yeah, that is, in a nutshell, some of the new stuff that they've been adding in. So I'll be curious to see what other stuff they end up getting too. Looks like they... Oh, okay, here we go. Apparently they're also adding in a Vickers M1934 Mark III light tank, which apparently saw use by the Dutch East Indies, the Belgians. Oh yeah! Apparently they're also adding in a brand new faction, the Dutch East Indies, it looks like, as a whole new playable army to play against in FHSW Europe. So there you go. So, what do you think?
I think you're a massive nerd. That's what I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
Takes one to know one, though.
Yeah, so like I said, mod has a lot of stuff in it. Especially when you add everything together. They also combine some of the... FHSW Europe also combined some of the other more obscure expansions for Forgotten Hope, because there were other expansions, and combine them all into one little package with additional improved single-player support. Things like being able to play as the Norwegians and the Dutch, thanks to the Norwegian Resistance expansion, as well as the Forgotten Honor expansion. So, anyways, but I think we have diverged long enough, so nice work, nerd. So yeah, Star Wars Empire, Luke Skywalker, Jedi pilot target. Yeah, that would probably be a rough situation to be in, but he does have a lightsaber on him, but you know, don't know. Let's see when it says this takes place.
Melee aircraft.
Melee aircraft? Let me see if that's one of... You know, they did actually bizarrely design aircraft that were meant to be, well, melee focused in World War II for some godforsaken reason.
Wait, what? When the hell did they do that?
If I remember correctly, I think, is there anything in else on the High Republic, or is it Last Dead? There is a new upcoming series of High Republic comics, I am afraid. But from what I understand, it's also going to be a mini-series of comics, so it might be... So far, I've heard it's 6 issues, so hopefully it's short, but... So, I'm going to have to look this one up to refresh my memory. It would have been a...
Oh, hello, it's Race. He says hi, by the way.
Alright. Okay, here we go. The Northrop XP-79, nicknamed the Flying Ram or Flying Chainsaw, was a 1940s American jet-powered tailless aircraft designed to cut through enemy bomber formations using reinforced magnesium alloy wing leading edges.
What the fuck?
So an American design that's designed to quite literally ram and cut through enemy bombers.
Fucking American orc engineering.
It'll work because we believe it will work.
But yeah, this did in fact technically get built for some reason.
Because I guess they wanted to save on ammunition.
Because I'm sure that's the main problem the war was.
Shape alone would allow it to severely damage or completely slice off tails and wings from enemy bombers because of its intended role. It had a unique unpressurized cockpit that required the pilot to lie down in a prone position similar to a glider. Apparently, it was lost in a crash. Ironically enough.
Oh. God. Sometimes you just can't make shit up. Well, you can, and then you make it, and then it is that.
Just fly through, and that's something I expect the Germans or Japanese to do. You would expect that. But the Americans, the people known for liking guns, went, that's what they would expect us to do, is just shoot them with our guns on our planes. Let's do something they wouldn't expect. But yeah, that technically did exist. So, there you go. So let's see how many people had to actually read the plot of this comic for context in comparison to what High Republic typically was, what with it having what? 11 people typically. So we've got Ron Mars, the actual script writer, and then we have Michael David Thomas as the letterer. And that's it. You do, however, have 3 people working on the art in the actual comic, 4 if you include the cover art, so there we go.
Very nice.
Alright, right off the bat, we got some... Rebel Alliance is clearly sending down a force here for some purpose. Do you want to voice Luke, or should I?
Who could do the best Mark Hamill impression?
It depends on which Mark Hamill we're talking about. The problem is, I don't think that voicing this character as the Joker would work that well.
You know what? You can do that.
Just hang tight, R2. It'll take the Intel guys a couple of hours to set up their gear. Look at this place. It's like Yavin 4, but with more jungle, if that's possible.
This is nothing, Luke. Wait until you've seen a little more of the galaxy.
You want to voice this character too? Since I think Luke is probably going to get a lot of lines in this. I just suspect.
Yes. I'm not going to do that. No. Wedge is right. Someday you'll see it. You'll see. What the fuck? Someday you'll see Ithorn say, "I thought I'd seen jungles on." What's the name of this planet, Commander? Can have the Commander.
Alright. This planet's so remote it doesn't even have a name, Siniska. So it's the perfect spot for a listening post. The Empire will never suspect we're eavesdropping on its communications. But there's not much for us to do now, except sit and wait for the Intel squad to finish their work.
Sounds like a chance for some shut-eye. Copy that.
I'd like to take a look around. We've got plenty of time, Luke. Go explore a little. Just don't wander too far. I don't know where he gets the energy.
Oops.
I don't know why Nara's concerned. I can take care of myself. So, is this going to be some sort of alien mosquito or something? Nope.
The dragonfly, more like.
Well, you'd think that, but I don't know. Graves? But if this planet is uninhabited, who are they? Or who were they? And who buried them? How long has this been here? Hello? Well, we can kind of guess, judging from what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody here? Looks like somebody's still here. Who's there? I better tell the commander about this. You know, have you seen the original 2003 or so Clone Wars series? The original
Nope.
There's a certain planet where Anakin and a bunch of clones actually go to chase this dark side user, who's an apprentice of Count Dooku at the time. And I think, yeah, I think so. And I think it was on a jungle planet like this, and I think Anakin was the only survivor of the entire fight.
Hmm.
Or at least one of the only, so this might explain that or something. Commander.
Well, that.
It could be. It could be a different planet altogether. I don't think they ever explain what planet they went to, so.
It is the same continuity.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Eric says, hello, Ace. Oh, this comic is old. Land of it, and it's mid. Planet with no name in Star Wars, such BS. Maybe well, to be fair, you could technically say that the records might have been erased, like what happened to Kamino, as part of a plot. So it is technically already in lore that you could do something like that, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Commander, we're not alone. I was walking in the jungle and I found what looked like graves. Then, just beyond them, I found a wrecked ship. I'm not sure, but I think it might be left over from the TIE fighters. We must have been followed. Get pilots to your ships. Luke, get on board. Maybe we can take them out before they... Oh no, they're not alone either. Imperial landing craft. We're about to have plenty of company. No chance of getting to the X-Wings now. At least Wedge and Siniska were able to get airborne. Maybe they can keep those TIEs too busy to strafe us. But the TIEs are the least of our worries right now.
Fall back. Head for the jungle.
There are too many of them.
Lay down covering fire and retreat. After them. Not one rebel escapes, or you answer to me.
The books have been cooked, and so are Kaminoans. Yeah. Ah!
Scatter. Send the speeders ahead, cut them off. Then fan out through the jungle.
Sir? What is that?
Eber 1717, reporting for duty. It's a trick! What are you waiting for? Shoot him!
And Stormtrooper accuracy strikes again.
Yippee!
Now, there is one thing this does kind of hint at with regards to the armor for the clone troopers. For those who aren't familiar, the clone trooper armor was actually designed a little bit differently from the stormtroopers in terms of what it was exactly designed to accomplish. Basically, if you got hit with this, if it saved your life, it basically... So the stormtrooper armor is actually designed to basically spread the impact over your entire body, which increases your survivability, but it leaves you incapacitated. The clone trooper armor is designed to actually limit that to some degrees, but if it does stop, so it is less survivable, but if it stops something like this, you're able to walk it off, much more likely, and keep fighting. So it's a very different design philosophy for the armor in terms of what it's designed to do. So it is interesting that they're showing that a little bit there.
Yes. Clone armor is also more consistent because it's produced in the same, in a single location. Stormtrooper armor can vary considerably in quality.
Yeah, that would also be a problem, and one that could very badly impact morale. With it being a mystery whether or not the armor that you're issued is actually as good as it's supposed to be. But yeah, let's go ahead and continue. Faster! They're flanking us! Ugh! Thanks. You're pretty good with that thing. I'm getting better. But I'm not up to dealing with a whole platoon of stormtroopers. Run! Uh-oh. Not a good place for us, Luke. Caught between the hammer and the anvil. Thank you, Wedge. Down! Yeah. Still in one piece? I think so. More than I can say for that TIE. That's more than anyone could say for any TIE fighter ever.
Yeah.
At least it left a nice big hole. Come on, that crater's the best cover we're going to get. Gives us a better chance of holding off those stormtroopers. This old guy is probably having flashbacks of the Clone Wars already. Oh, that's the end of the issue already?
Yeah.
Well, you know it's a good sign when the issue starts, when it actually has such good pacing, that you're in for about 20 minutes or so, and you already are wanting to see more. You've already burned through it, and you already want to see more. That is, the comic already has action. It already has a little bit of intrigue with what's going on exactly. So it'll be... So yeah, I'm kind of wanting to read the next issue. How about you?
Yeah, I'm already there.
Same here! Alright, so it takes place approximately 7 months after the events of A New Hope. So once again, same number of people actually working on the script, although we only have one person or two people working on the art. Just one person for the whole comic doing the actual, I guess, stencil work, and the other person doing the colors. So, yeah. Alright, so this starts off with Wedge. So this is you.
Yep. Forgot which voice I gave. I think this is their standard American accent, I think. Commander Nara. Commander Nara, this is Wedge. Red 2. I don't know if you're picking me up, but Seneska and I are running into some serious traffic up here. We've got a bunch of TIE fighters on our tails, which means there's at least an Imperial frigate in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And if we... Oh,
Sorry.
wait. Yeah, even if we did manage to get back to you, we'd be bringing a lot more grief down on your heads. God damn it, I keep stumbling on the words. Can't risk being followed back to the fleet. So we're going to try ducking around to the other side of the planet and keep our heads low. We'll be back as soon as we can. Good luck.
All right.
I asked who you are. I want an answer.
Commander, I think I can... No, Luke. Just take it easy. I'm Commander Nara of Red Squadron. This is Luke Skywalker. I think there's a misunderstanding. You didn't come here with the troops who just arrived, did you? You've been here a while, haven't you? That was your place I found. The crashed ship and the grave markers.
I can't be sure how long I've been here. We crashed here less than a year after the war began. Droid fighters. They were on top of us before we could breach. Most of my unit was killed, but the rest of us managed to take out the droids, but at a heavy price. My best guess is that I've been here for at least 20 years.
Incredible! I saw clone troopers in action when I was younger.
You've given me your names, but who are you? Separatists? You've got those troopers hunting you.
Yes, but not clone troopers, stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers?
They're tools of the Empire that controls most of the galaxy. The Separatists are long gone. We're part of the Alliance, trying to restore the Republic.
I'm not sure I understand. Are you saying we won the war? Then where did the Empire come from?
You won the war, and the entire galaxy lost. The Empire is what the Republic turned into, what it was twisted into. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine made a show of how reluctant he was to accept the emergency war powers, but he'd wanted that kind of power all along. Under the pretense of protecting the Republic, he took control and unleashed his armies and his fleets. Crushing the separatist movement was just the very first step. He eventually declared himself emperor and put every system under his heel. And to make certain he wouldn't be challenged, he hunted down and exterminated the last threats to his power, the Jedi. We've been living under the Empire's shadows ever since. But we're finally doing something about it. The Alliance is going to put an end to the Empire.
The Jedi are gone? But they were our generals.
Show him. What? Oh, right. I'm a Jedi. I was trained by Ben Kenobi, though in those days he was known as Obi-Wan. General Skywalker is one of our most important leaders. Yes.
If the Jedi have taken up arms against this Empire, then I am yours to command, General. Able 1707, reporting for duty.
Well, Abel, we need to link up with the rest of the rebel detachment and find a way off-planet. You know this terrain better than any of us. What do you suggest?
How soon can you gather the rest of your men?
Oro says execute Order 66 Electric Boogaloo Edition. Eric says, lol, look at that purple saber OC white hair lady at front and center. Let's see. Oh, I see. Yeah, I see. I don't recognize this character, but alright.
Neither do I. Not at least explicitly.
Looks like Owen Wilson. A little bit, now that you mention it. The original prequel comics were better than planned out than High Republic. Yes, they were. Partially because Lucas did technically have a plan. Now, it does appear that he changed part of the plan with the edits that he. So there's I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't it been kind of low key confirmed that that the Darth Banks thing was actually originally going to be what Lucas went with, and then he changed it after the poor publicity of Jar Jar?
I don't know that, but I would suspect not.
You suspect that Jar Jar was just Jar Jar the whole time?
Yes.
I don't know. I've heard stories that might be actually legit what he thought was, or what he was planning originally, but it could legit just be a fan theory. But yeah, I'll have to double check that. Now you have to voice Luke like that. Wow. Owen Wilson whisper voice. How about no? All right. Let's continue, please.
Where is it? Where is the rebel fleet? I will have that information. Not for me, you won't. Fine. Find me another live one. Send more patrols into the jungle. You two there. Any luck with the X-Wings?
Not yet, Captain. We should be able to backtrack to their fleet if we can get at the navigational data, but this R2 unit isn't cooperating. We could just yank it out of... Ah!
Spare me these amateurs.
Sir, more patrols aren't going to be necessary. It looks like you're going to have your pick.
I think my career just got a boost. Is this all of them?
I think I'll let you voice this, Stormtrooper, because I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, I know where this is going, so... As far as we know, sir, they were gathering to plan their counterattack. We caught them by surprise. Good. Keep them under close watch. Copy that. Sir, it might be best to use their transport as a temporary holding pen. Yes, see to it. I'm going to contact the Admiral with news of our success.
Copy.
Remove your helmet, Trooper. Sir? Your helmet. Remove it. Now. Who was your last commanding officer, Trooper? General Shakti.
Get that helmet off, Luke. Don't worry. You don't want to catch friendly blaster fire because you're fashion choice. This isn't my first time.
Get your engines fired up.
Head for the X-Wings, Luke. We can do a lot more good in the air than on the ground.
Where did that come from? There. Get your men into the ship. But that thing will blow us out of the air. No, it won't.
What's he doing? Hold for maximum power. Target. Oh, wait. That's your character there on the right. I'll let your character on the right do it.
Target locked. We've got them. Fire.
Pick it up, Luke. We're going to be long gone before more Imperials show up. What about Abel? We can't just leave him. Luke? Luke?
General. Ugh.
Rebel transport. This is Red 5. Are you reading me? We need to make a quick rendezvous so I can hand off a passenger I've picked up. That is creative.
Insane move.
That is a creative. I will give him that. Technically, you could slow these things down to a stop, so it is possible to pick up someone like that. And if there's any pilot that could pull off that kind of stunt, Luke would probably be among the list. Going to have you back in one piece, Lieutenant Krawurxus. Oh, wait. All his ribs are broken and his spleen exploded. Maybe not. Like I said, you could slow this thing down. You could slow down these starfighters surprisingly well. You could literally slow these things down to a stop if you want. Technical is a step away from friendly fire in this case, though. Correct! It is also a move out of sheer desperation. So it is very much I could see this work. As crazy as it sounds, given the rules that are given the technology in Star Wars, I could low-key see this work. Extremely risky, extremely dangerous, but I could technically see it. Yeah.
With space magic.
Why is this enjoyable? Because this is before the dark times, before the Disney. This is old school Star Wars.
Before the mouth.
Still, he probably is injured from this, let's be honest. Yeah, you can see he's got a busted arm probably from that, so... On the other hand, this is Star Wars. There's a lot you could actually recover from in Star Wars, injury-wise. I'm wondering how he even got the landing gear to reach when the wings are scraping the ground. Now that's a good question. Definitely some Force shenanigans. Someone had to jump high to get caught with that landing gear. Would dig into the ground. They do actually kind of dig into the ground a little bit. You actually see that on the panel, just not that much, but they do that. As you can see it right there. On the other hand, technically, now that I think about it, we are talking about Luke being a Force user, who's to say? Well, no, he wouldn't have this kind of. He wouldn't be able to pull him that high up. I don't think quite yet.
Yeah, he struggled to pick up a lightsaber in
Yeah.
a later installment. I'm fairly certain it's later, anyways. So yeah.
In Star Wars, you can end up a nugget and still recover. You still get made fun of, though. Yeah. All right. So I think this is. So this is Lieutenant Kamax here. You want to voice him?
No, wait. Well, the first character isn't. Or did you read that already?
Well, it turns out that was Princess Leia.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll do that. Thank you, Your Highness. I couldn't have given up a very good. Let's try that again. Thank you, Your Highness. I wouldn't have given us a very good chance of coming back at all when those Imperials swooped down on us. But we had help. We may have lost our opportunities to set up a listening post, but I think we wound up with something much more valuable. Trooper Abel has agreed to join the Alliance Intelligence Corps. I think he'll make an excellent operative.
You almost look like a different man, Abel.
Copy that. I almost feel like a different man, General.
Sorry if we stretched the truth a little back there.
Not a problem, sir. Even if you're not a general, you're still a Jedi.
So that was a fun little comic for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Okay, the picking him up at the end bit was a little silly, but it could kind of work.
Yeah.
It's not the level. It's nowhere near the sort of nonsense that we see on the regular from, High Republic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an automatic gold star right there. But yeah, I could see the talk about it digging into the ground, which it did a little bit. He probably had to jump up to actually get picked up that way, but it could technically be done to some degrees. So, and it's not like he got away scot-free. Though, again, this is Star Wars. He can easily recover from that. The silliest and worst bull of the early comics is a breeze of fresh air when compared to modern crap. So I said these comics are mid, but in this day and age, it's gold compared to Disney crap. Yeah, I know there's some good issues in these comics in particular. I've seen a few of them in this series so far. But some of the other issues kind of are a character in the state of they exist, I guess. But they're still fine. It's still an enjoyable read.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kalkyl?
No, I think it's cool. I like me some clone troopers, sorry.
Same
Which
here.
should be evident from my avatar.
Yeah. But yeah, compared to modern Disney, yeah. Hell, I think we compared, in terms of the artwork, how much the artwork's fallen. We've compared some of the artwork that was infamous, that was made by Rob Liefeld back in the 90s, and that still looks good compared to modern High Republic artwork. At least Rob Liefeld had attention to detail going on.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the proportions had a habit of looking off, but... And I'm very specifically talking, for example, about that one Captain America front cover that he drew. That I don't even think that cover actually came out. It's just a preview cover that he made that became the stuff of legend for how notorious it was. And even then, yeah, I'm looking at that and going, I kind of wish I would rather have that than this, than Modern High Republic. I mean, I know the ultimate fate of this is Lost Clone, if you want to know a bummer spoiler. Okay. Nah, we'll save that for another issue, which I'm sure will happen at some point anyways. But yeah, this was an enjoyable read, definitely. Admittedly, it was a fairly short read. The fact that we got through 2 issues in less than an hour, and that's with a deviation, to talk about mods. Oh yeah, another thing. Apparently, Project Reality just released version 1.9. So that's neat, if you're familiar with Project Reality.
No.
So it is a realistic... so it's a mod made for Battlefield 2, and it's known for its hyper-realism and all that. It converts Battlefield 2 into being extremely realistic. It's made by actual combat veterans, and the people that worked on it later went on to make Squad. That's how the guys that make Squad got their start. They got their start making Project Reality. So it is nice to see Project Reality still getting updates. So probably, I suspect it's only a matter of time before they start covering some of the more recent conflicts. So the new faction they added in was new faction for the Syrian Civil War. Makes me wonder how long it's going to be before they add in stuff regarding a certain other conflict in Europe, or perhaps another one in the Middle East right now. But I digress. I somehow suspect that the getting drones in there is going to be quite the game changer. Ura says, I'm sure they'd just execute modern artists today if those old guys were still around. Yeah, they probably would, and it would be far better. And honestly, the result of that would probably be more artistic than what the modern artists themselves could accomplish on their own, let's be honest.
Amen.
You know, it's not really a good sign when your modern artists are so despicable in both personality and craft that you start to wonder maybe they should be sent to North Korea so the North Koreans can do their usual thing as a result. But anyways, yeah, this was an enjoyable comic. Let's see, and yeah, it is definitely head and shoulders above High Republic. That's for sure. It's another example of the sort of stuff we lost out on when Disney took over. So, I'm sure they just execute modern artists. Okay, yeah, we already read that. So yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add to this, Kalkyl?
Well, there were plenty of war crimes in this comic, which is to be expected.
Perfidy being one of them, definitely.
Yep.
That would be the big one. Trying to think of what else would be counted. I don't think it would basically just fall under perfidy because they disguised themselves first as some of them were disguised as stormtroopers and some of them were feigning surrender.
Yep.
Which all
very not okay. But hey, it's literally guerrilla warfare. So
and
it's guerrilla warfare and insurrection. So yeah, they are not gonna fight fair.
Yeah, that. And let's also be honest. I don't know if perfidy is actually listed amongst the war crimes in the Star Wars universe. I know that war crimes or at least crimes against humanity or something do technically exist because they.
Yeah.
But I don't know that this is counted as a war crime in that particular universe. It's not a war crime if there is no Geneva suggestion in this universe. I think there is technically some sort of rules for war. I just don't think that this is. I just don't know that this falls under them or not. But yeah, this was definitely a fun read. Eric says, I like how Luke looks like Owen Wilson. Even the bad old stuff is just better than modern Disney stuff. Correct. The planet was destroyed in the Old Republic times. The planet Geneva was destroyed in Old Republic times. The correct response to the Geneva Convention. Turn it into a checklist for Geneva. A tragic loss indeed. So its laws don't apply. So yeah, I think we are at a pretty good stopping point for this. I'm going to try getting back into doing more comic book live streams now. So yeah, I think we've covered everything I should. So yeah, this has been Ace.
This has been Kalkyl.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. And we both hope to see you all again soon. Until then, take care. Ace.